Now, I would like to think by now you're completely and utterly sold on vitamin D. So this begs a couple of questions. Where the hell do you find it, and how much do you need? Well, I'll start with the latter. Now, of course, I'm no doctor. Okay, all the information I provide, is based on my own research. I want you to take everything I say with a pinch of salt. Do your own homework. Don't come running to me if you suffer some kind of cranial implosion or whatever. Now, with that said, okay, the United States RDA for vitamin D is 400 IU, let's say international units, 400 IU per day. Although this has been admitted to be very low. It is very, very low. An adult male could quite conceivably take 10,000 IU per day without any implications. Toxicity has been shown to occur, long-term doses over a few months with doses as high as 50,000 IU. I don't think such a high dose is necessary. I certainly don't recommend jumping to such a high dose straight away either. Based on my own personal experience and research, the consensus seems to land in the region of about 2,000 to 4,000 IU per day for adults. Now, women might want to adjust slightly lower. It really depends on body size. People who rarely get sunlight, depends on the climate, people who rarely get sunlight may want to go as high as, say, 5,000 IU, so you may want to adjust slightly higher. I've heard of people going as high as 8,000 IU, so, I wouldn't worry about ODing on this stuff, as long as you're sensible. Now, just to demonstrate as well, a typical glass of fortified milk contains about 100 IU, and I don't think you're going to be drinking 40, 50 glasses of milk a day. Supplementation is needed if you want to be achieving these kind of doses. Now, whether or not you choose to factor in food sources into your daily count of vitamin D, that's up to you. That's your decision. As I say, I'm not a doctor. These videos are for infotainment purposes only. Okay. So with that said, sources. Where do we find vitamin D? Well, I'll just start a little nugget for the vegans out there. Mushrooms, when exposed to UV light, are actually the only vegan source of vitamin D, besides sunlight, of course. Now, you might want to check. I've put a Wikipedia article about this at the bottom. You might want to check that out. They contain D2, vitamin D2. It's still somewhat active in the body. It's definitely worth looking into anyway, especially if you're, a Finnish vegan or something. Now, some other sources include fatty fish. For example, salmon. You're looking per 100 grams, or 3.5 ounce serving, provides 360 IU of vitamin D. A typical whole egg contains in the region of about 20 IU. Beef liver contains 100 grams. 100 grams of beef liver contains 15 IU. And typical multivitamin that you see on the market is usually in the region of about 400 or 500 IU. Which, as I said, that's about the RDA in America. Now, the capsules you see come in, the doses are usually 1,000, 2,000, or 5,000 IU. So you pop a capsule really seems to be the way to go, unless you want to sit eating eggs all day. I don't know. Now, the other thing to consider is you're probably thinking, well, you get vitamin D from sunlight, so do we really need to supplement? Now, I'll just touch on this briefly. Vitamin D is made naturally from sunlight. There's basic guidelines that it's usually recommended between 5 and 30 minutes of sun exposure between about 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. at least twice a week without sunscreen is said to be sufficient. Though, as I always say, there are so many factors at play here. Your location, things like cloud cover, the time of year, and skin type as well. People with darker skin do typically need more sunlight to produce the same amount of vitamin D as, say, some pasty white guy. So, and interestingly, another thing as well is if you are relying on the sun to get your D fix, then remember this, the body oils that contain cholesterol and that are critical for absorption, some experts actually say that because the body needs about 30 to 60 minutes to absorb these oils that contain vitamin D, it's actually best to delay showering. Don't shower for about an hour after being in the sun. Another thing as well is if, say for example, you're on holiday, or if you're lucky enough to have a pool, don't jump straight in the pool, because these oils can actually be stripped off your skin by the chlorine. Now, these are all little details that you don't need to obsess over too much. I would say just, well, what I'll do is I'll give you some personal recommendations. This is just to sort of sum it all up. Number one, take 2,000 to 4,000 IU daily, or in the region thereof. Be sensible with it, of course, and adjust up or down depending on the amount of sun you get. If you're male or female, your skin type, you know, as I say, do your own homework, so you'll figure out what's best for you. Get your vitamin D from the sun as much as possible, I would say. That would be my personal preference, but again, be sensible and don't burn, because it's not going to do you any favours. Now, the other thing to consider as well, recommendation number 3, is make sure you're getting adequate calcium when you're increasing your vitamin D intake. Okay, and the other thing, number 4, is experiment. With a lot of these things, experiment. Figure out what works for you based on your own body, your location, climate. You know, it's going to be highly individualized. As I say, about 2,000 to 4,000 IU. You may or may not want to supplement. It's entirely up to you. I would say it's probably the way to go, especially during the winter months as well. So yeah, I mean, I hope this was useful. Please, please, please leave me a comment. Share your experiences with vitamin D if you have any. If you have any feedback, any corrections you'd like to make, I would vastly, vastly appreciate it. And another thing, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/user/bangsfitness. Okay, so until next time, go outside, get some sun. Alright, see ya.